Hey guys, Craig with SingleLengthSchool.com here, and first of all, I'd like to say it feels great to be back and actually be able to give you guys a tip this week. If you can tell by my outfit, we got a little bit of snow here last night here in Pennsylvania, and not to my chagrin. I'd much rather be out on the course working on my game after that trip to Florida. But anyways, we're going to bring you a tip today. By the way, guys, thanks to everybody for your cues, for your questions last week while I was down in Florida, the Q&A. I had a lot of fun with that. By all means, guys, if you ever have any other questions, please don't hesitate. Send them on in, whether it's through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, through the website, anything like that. Please send your questions any way I can help. I'm glad to help. So today's tip, what we want to talk about, I've got a request in from a guy that, I've had a lot of time chatting with, and a great guy, Kim, down in Australia. And Kim, you had a great question, and, it's a great tip. Kim basically wants to know, how can he hit a low chip that, kind of hits a few times, spins and stops like you see a lot of the pros do on TV. Kim, I will get to that one. It's very advanced. There's an exact precision to it, and for most amateurs, it's something that I don't recommend, but I will get into it here down the road just to kind of show you guys how that works. But until you're having consistent ball striking, it's something that's very, very difficult, and I'd actually recommend, rather than hitting that low spinny chip, actually trying to carry the ball a little bit more and trying to stop it that way. But as I said, I'll get to it. But for today, what I want to cover is how to easily hit a draw with your single length irons. So a lot of coaches, and a lot of times you'll hear, to hit a draw, you've got to swing in to out, in to out. So, if we're looking this way, to hit that draw, you're looking the club coming this way and going out through the ball. Well, with your single length clubs, now that you're comfortable or you've had some practice and you kind of know your typical shot shape, there's an easy way to go through your entire bag and learn how to hit a draw. And there's two setups that you need to adjust for. The first one is your grip. So typically, to hit a draw with your single length irons, what you're going to want to do is take your normal grip and then strengthen it a little bit. Close that club face a little bit. So if you start like this, now you just want to rotate it a little bit, maybe a quarter of an inch max. That's going to help close that club face on your swing. Now, the second thing I highly recommend, and I teach my guys all the time to help hit that draw. So step one is to kind of close that club face a little bit. Step two, and I'm going to take a step back here a little bit, put that ball further back in your stance. Why do you want that ball further back in your stance? Because that's going to help enhance you swinging out to, or in to out on that ball. So if you think about it, with the ball in the middle of your stance, you're coming and the club's trying to square up and be perfectly square right in that middle of the stance. If you go back with the ball in your stance, now it's going to help promote that in to out swing path. So when I go to hit my draw, I take my grip, close it a little bit, make it a little bit stronger, close that club face a little bit, and I'll move that ball back in my stance, and that helps promote the in to out swing. So that's something you guys definitely should be practicing, because out on the course, you're going to have to hit draws here and there when, you might have some tree trouble, or depending on the layout. And same thing, guys. It also works with driver, 3-wood, but specifically with your single length irons, that is the easiest way to hit a draw. Rather than trying to change up your whole swing and drop and swing in to out, you're better off just closing your club a little bit, putting that ball a little bit further back in your stance to promote that in to out. Now, here's what you got to keep in mind: the amount of draw you want on the ball. So if you need to hit a hard hook, then you're really going to shut that club face, and you're really going to get that ball back in your stance. That's going to really help promote and get that ball way out there and bring it back to the left, or if you're left-handed, bring it back to the right. Excuse me. So keep that in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is your aim point. So when you're going to hit a draw, You want to make sure you're aiming to the right of your target so it comes back. So here's some suggestions, guys, out on the range or in the simulators, whatever you're doing out on the course. Practice it. Hit a couple, determine how much club face closure you need, determine where in the stance the ball needs to be to produce just a little baby draw, a harder draw, things like that. But those are the easiest ways to do it with your single length irons. It all makes sense. You don't have to change anything. Your swing's the same for all your clubs anyway. So now you've just got to learn to close that club face, move that ball back, and then hit your draw, and it'll do your little baby draw right to left for most guys, left to right for those left-handed guys. So there's the tip of the week. If you guys have any questions, be sure to hit us up on Facebook or Instagram. At Single Length School is the handle. On Twitter, it's at One Length School. SingleLengthSchool.com. You can go in there, hit the contact us button, send me an email. Send me an email. I'll be glad to help you out. Don't forget, we've got lessons you can buy online. We'll FaceTime, we'll Skype, we'll do some lessons. You can buy hour, 2-hour packages or even longer packages if you need that. Glad to help you guys out however I can. And remember, guys, the size matters. Choose single length.